Welcome to the One Day at a Time Recovery Podcast, where my guests share their stories of addiction, how they recovered, and the tools and practices they use to stay sober now. Well, Kute, thanks so much for joining me this morning.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm super excited. Monica reached out and she mentioned that you have this book that is like perfect timing for me, The Magic of Surrender. Finding the courage to let go. And I thought, you know what? There are so many of us that are in recovery. You know, the audience is mostly people either thinking about recovery or
Mhm.
in recovery from addiction. And surrender is a huge part, right, of
Mhm.
recognizing that what's happening isn't working and there are some things
Yep.
that they need to let go of. So I really understand the magic that comes with surrender. But then, those of us who quit, I quit, and then comes everything else, right? Like I quit drinking over 30 years ago, but
Wow.
life presents many opportunities for
Mhm.
surrender because we
Mhm.
get into our mind of what we think that we want. And
Yeah.
sometimes we sort of continue to hit the wall as we're
Mhm.
achieving and goal setting and things like that. We have an idea of what we think our life should be. And
Mhm.
when we,
Mhm.
hit these consistent blocks,
Yes.
we need to introduce surrender again. So, I'm just curious, what was it about this idea of surrender that you felt like you wanted to sort of address this and carry this message?
Yeah, I didn't want to write this book. I didn't want to write about this message. I didn't want to write about this topic. I resisted writing about this topic. I had my own intention, my own agenda to write about a different topic, to be honest. And I did everything in my power to write about everything else. I sat down and brainstormed all the ideas that I thought would be great ideas that I thought my publisher would want. And the truth is, one day I was looking at a whiteboard with all of these brilliant ideas, but the only word that felt true, the only word that felt authentic was the word surrender. And I thought to myself, "Oh shit, that's it. That's the book." But I don't want it to be the book. And I had this kind of mental battle in my mind and with myself, between my mind and my soul, and my ego and my soul. It's like yes and no. Yeah. Finally, I just had to surrender to the book about surrender and let go. And when I surrendered to the book about surrender, I would say that's where things started flowing. That's when life started unfolding. And so there was the book I wanted to write, and there was the book that was seeking to be written. And so everything about my life began to make sense in that moment. And my mother had just kind of recently at that time passed away a few months before.
Mhm.
And she was the person I loved the most. She was everything to me. I was very close to her. She was there for me. Like I knew love because of her. So it was a really impactful uh, experience. And I had the opportunity for an entire year. She lived in London. I was living in Los Angeles at the time. I had the opportunity to be with her pretty much for a year. I'd fly every month, LA to London, LA to London, LA to London for a week, 1 week a month. I'd be with her and just be with her during chemo sessions, be with her and help her and serve her and just spend time with her. And what started out as the worst year of my life, I would say became the best year of my life because we got to just connect at a whole other level. And I would say that looking back, that experience is what planted the seed inside of my mind for the book, even though I didn't know it was happening at the time. You see, mm, I tried everything to make my mother well. I tried everything to heal her. I tried therapies. I tried vitamins. I tried potions and lotion. It's like nothing was working and she wasn't really cooperating. And one day, the doctor said, I'll never forget the day. The doctor said, basically, there's nothing else we can do for you. I mean, in a nice way, they say you're going to die, so get your affairs in order, and you don't
Yeah.
know how long you have. And for anyone that's ever been in that situation, it's real. It's a real moment. And for me, I realized, oh my God, like I'll never see my mother again. You know, it hits you like she's
Yeah.
not going to meet my children. She won't be around for these moments and all the things I still wanted to do with her. And I just my heart felt full of regret because I thought I had time. And the truth
Mm.
is, if you're listening, you don't have time. You might think you have time with your parents, but every day you waste not loving, not forgiving, holding grudges, you are wasting, and the future version of you will regret it. The only regret I have in my life is not spending more time with my mother. And I felt it all in that moment. And I looked at my mother and I asked her two questions that changed my life, that I think set the foundation for the book. The first question was, are you afraid? Like they say you're going to die. And my mother said, no, you know what? I'm not afraid because I know I'm not this body. This
Wow.
body is just a temporary vehicle for my soul.
Yeah.
And the body will go, but I, the real me, will is eternal. And so I'm not afraid because I know who I am. And I realized that my mother had such a deep, profound level of peace. That's not something you can just fake. It was real, you know. And then I wanted to be a good son. And so I said to my mother, look, what do you want? What do you need? Where can I take you? What can I buy you? Where do you want to go? Like, let's make the most of every moment. Um, and she looked at me and she said, there's nothing that I want, and there's nothing that I need. The only thing that I want is what God wants for my life. And it was such a simple statement. It wasn't like this dramatic moment. It was just so simple. It's like, wow, the only thing I want is what God wants for my life. She wasn't attached to dying. She
Mhm.
wasn't attached to living. She, in that moment, I realized was she was just completely surrendered to whatever the highest unfolding for her soul and her journey was. And that was the peace. It's like whatever happened, she was open to it and trusted that this was the highest path for her life and her journey. That's the moment I realized the power of surrender. That's the moment I realized that my mother and her soul had been teaching me about surrender in this year. And that's the moment I realized my mother had been living in some way, shape, or form, surrender her entire life that I had known her. Like all these moments, she was living surrender. And that's when I saw the real power of surrender. I mean, it's easy to surrender when you get what you want and, life goes your way and the bank account is full and you have the love of your life. But when you're faced with death and loss of control, it's like, can you surrender? And so that's when I realized, when I was deciding to write the book, that surrender is the most powerful thing that you can do. I really believe that the most powerful thing that we can do as human beings is to completely surrender. The real secret to manifestation is surrender. The password to freedom is surrender. If you want to experience more magic and miracles, that's what the book is called, The Magic of Surrender, not the power of surrender. It's the magic, because magic is that which is beyond your current ego's capacity to even imagine what is possible. It is beyond what you can even imagine with the limitation of your human self. What is beyond? Who wants to experience beyond? We all want the magical. But none of us, we want to surrender. We want to hold on to who we are. We want to hold on to what we know. We want to hold on to who we've been. And we want to hold on, but we want to experience the magic. It doesn't work that way. So for me, the realization was the degree of magic you experience in your life will be in direct proportion to which you surrender and let go. And
Mhm.
I think that is the formula, so to speak. That is the equation. The more you surrender, the more you open yourself to the magic beyond what you can imagine. And I think if we look at least when I look at my life, but if we look at our life and look at best things in our life that happened, If everybody looks at the best things, meeting your soulmate, meeting my wife, meeting, most of it we didn't plan. If we're really honest, it kind of just happened in the process of living life, right? Most of it just happened in the process of living life. And so, um, when I looked at the really great ones, Jesus, Gandhi, Mandela, Mother Teresa, Bruce Lee, Muhammad Ali, um, at some point, whether they thought about it or not, whether they were aware or not, at some point, they all surrendered themselves. They all surrendered themselves to the deeper calling, to the deeper purpose, to what life was seeking of them, which may not have been the life that they thought. But in that surrender and letting go, they were all able to transcend their human limitations.
Mhm.
And in that transcending their human limitations, they were able to tap into another dimension of potential and grace and power and magic and the miraculous and possibility and life, this infinite intelligence that is life. Life was able to express through them and use them, I think, in ways that they could not have even imagined on their own. That's where the miraculous happened. It was no longer them living their life, it was life living through them, and Gandhiing and Mandela-ing and Buddha-ing and Jesus-ing. And it's like, wow, of their own human ego, they couldn't have, I think, done those things. And so when we surrender, I think we tap into another dimension of power, and life begins to live us and express through us. And so surrender is a letting go of control or the illusion that we're in control. Surrender is a letting go of, you know, who we think we should be and the life we think we should be living. It's taking the limitations off of life so that we can be available and open to allowing life to show us. And I think that's sort of the inspiration for the book and why I'm so passionate about the topic.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate that. You and I have such a similar story with our moms.
Mm.
My mother was diagnosed with cancer, but when they diagnosed her, she was already terminal. So
Wow.
I had her for 22 days after the
Wow.
diagnosis. And my mother wasn't afraid either. And that was such a relief for me personally. But it does sort of force you into this focus of what's really important.
Mhm.
Like I did the same thing that you did. It's like, well, what experiences do you want to have with the time that we have left? And what a beautiful gift that your mom gave you to sort of bring that focus into
Yeah.
your life of what's
Yeah.
really important.
Yeah.
And this message of surrender, there absolutely is. I love how you talk about the magical part because um, like you were talking about, our society puts all these shoulds on us. Like we should be
Hmm.
doing this, we should be doing that, we should be getting married and having kids and
Hmm.
having
Hmm.
financial success and these careers and all these shoulds that are put on us.
Hmm.
And it does put us in this really, and then when things don't work out the way we think it's supposed to, it's very discouraging. And a lot of
Hmm.
people turn to unhealthy coping mechanisms and
Hmm.
things like that. And but this idea of surrender, how do you there, I guess there's a couple questions in my mind. It's how do you reconcile, how does surrender work with ambition and goal setting? How do those two things work together or do
Yeah.
they?
Yeah, it does. Like surrender doesn't mean not having goals. Surrender doesn't mean I just sit on my couch and do nothing,
Right.
right? Because there's this idea of, oh, a fear or a myth. If I surrender, it's giving up, it's waving the white flag. If I surrender, it means I'm not going to manifest my goals, dreams, or desires. I got to sell everything,
Failing.
move
Yeah.
move to India in an ashram or monastery, and just sort of like be single, be celibate, just sort of like
No money.
have no money, no bank account. It's like, who the hell wants to do that? That doesn't,
Yeah.
like, what's the point? And so if I surrender, I'm going to get less in life, right?
Right.
Um, I have to, I'm just going to be a zombie and sit there and have no ambition. I'm actually saying, no, if you truly surrender, what if you didn't get less? But what if you got more? Maybe not what you thought. Maybe not what look, I'm sure that Mandela's life didn't go according to a script or a plan or a vision board. I'm sure that Gandhi's life, I mean, how do you script that life? Yeah, I think I'll spend 27 years in prison and then I'll come out. It's like, that's beyond the mind.
Right.
Gandhi was a successful lawyer. I'm sure he didn't want to just say, well, I'm going to give up this law thing and become Gandhi. It's just, it was bigger than him, right?
Right.
And so what if you didn't get less, but what if you got more? Different, maybe,
Right.
beyond, ultimately better. And
Better.
so surrender doesn't mean not having ambition. You see, the old paradigm way of living life that is mm, propagated in the sort of spiritual self-help field is you got to have the ambition and hustle and make it happen and like, what do you want? Get clear on what you want and know what you want, which, hey, it's helpful, but this is the ego-based model of living life. You might get everything that you thought you wanted, and we all have had it at some moment, only to realize that, wait a second, what I thought I wanted is not what I really wanted. Maybe what you thought you wanted and the goals you set, or many times, the goals that you set, I want to be famous, I want to have impact even, I want to serve people, I want to make a difference, I want to have a six pack, I want to be a certain weight, I want to have a Ferrari, whatever it is. Many times your goals can be projections of your wounds and unmet needs from childhood. Daddy
That's
wasn't there. He
good.
didn't feel enough. He didn't feel valuable. So if I can just win an Oscar, be an actor, be famous, whatever it might be, then I will finally feel worthy and valuable and enough. And so many times our goals can come from the sort of unmet needs from our childhood in our wounding, not from true, authentic alignment. And so there's a limitation to goal setting. And so for me, it's more about, let's call it soul setting, right? I think there's a
Good one.
difference, right? Where it's no longer about what do I want? What do I want? What do I want? It's more about what is it? What is it that life is seeking to manifest through me? It's a different question. What is it that God, the divine, the universe, my soul, whatever you might term it, what is it that life is seeking to manifest and create and express through me? And to feel that, to attune to that, to align with that, and to open yourself to sort of catch that vision and feel what is the deepest impulse of what is seeking to manifest through me. And it won't always be what you think. It won't even always be what you want. And so when you align with that, like, oh, this is what the goal, oh, this is the business I'm supposed to start. Oh, this is what I'm supposed to do. No longer coming from my ego or my will or my personality or what I think I should based on what I've been told by society and parents and education system, but this is what is in alignment with my soul. This is what is true. Then you can align with that, say yes to that, and then you can bring your planning and your goal setting and your markers and your strategy and your marketing in sync with the soul aligned expression. So then your ambition is sort of the fuel with what is actually aligned. You're bringing the ambition and the energy into a deeper alignment. And now you're coming from a different place. Many times, the ambition is a drive to try to fulfill some need outside in the world. I'm ambitious so that I can prove I'm enough to my dad, versus, oh, this is what I'm called to. And it's no longer about proving that I'm enough. I am enough, but this is what is seeking to happen. This is the book that I'm supposed to write, not the book I think I should write. This is the authentic expression. And there's a different motivation that is a bit different from ego ambition. And it's more about alignment. And and when you surrender, it doesn't mean you're going to sit there and do nothing. You may have to work harder. You might actually work harder than you've ever worked. Let me tell you, Gandhi worked harder than he ever worked, but he wasn't working so that you could say, look how great I am, right? He wasn't working for your validation. He was working for a cause and a mission that was bigger than himself. So the ambition wasn't just personal survival ambition. It was coming from a whole different place.
Yeah. When you're talking about, creating wants from wounds, and seeking the external
Yeah, yeah.
validation, I really feel like a lot of people identify with that.
Mm,
And, maybe the process of getting in touch with what
mm.
like life or universe wants to express through you,
Yes.
like requires getting quiet. But
Uh,
here's the thing that I've bumped into is sometimes like getting the intuition of, oh, you should be a speaker, you should it's something that's like you said, because it's so out of our limited mindset of who we think we are, that if, of course, we can't visualize what God wants for us or the universe or whatever.
yeah.
But when you sometimes hear that first impulse, what comes up is fear.
Good. That's a sign. That's probably a sign that you're on the right track. If you're
Oh,
like, yeah, let me do this thing. Oh, that's easy. Probably that ain't your intuition
that
speaking.
ain't
That's
it.
just your ego speaking, right? You're just doing
Okay.
more of the same shit
Right, right,
versus
right, right.
true inner guidance. It's gonna be a bit scary because it's arising from the dimension of your being that is beyond your mind.
Yeah,
So that information, intuition, inspiration is not limited to who you've been and what you've done.
right.
It's beyond that. It is not limited. And so often your intuition will not make sense to your logic. It's like, oh, I don't, how, oh, yeah, how am I going to do that? Now you're going in the right direction. You shouldn't know how you're going to do it yet, because the goal and the vision is evolutionary. So it should force you to expand beyond your current identity. And
Wow,
that's why it's a bit scary.
that's heavy.
That's why it should be scary. So if you're not a bit scared by the goal and the vision and the guidance you've been given, probably it's not your intuition. Number two, you're probably dreaming or thinking too small.
Mhm.
It
Yeah.
should scare you, and it should make you feel like, I of my current self, I don't quite know how I'm going to do that. And that gap is the growth and the journey that you get to expand and evolve into,
Mm.
right? That allows you the opportunity to become the next level or the next version of yourself.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, so much courage is required for surrender. And I've
Yes.
also heard you talk about the three phases, meaning acceptance, grief, and surrender. You know, tell me a little bit about like the honesty that's required in the acceptance before the grief.
Look, here's the thing. Most of us, we know what to do.
I keep telling myself, I don't know what's next.
Yeah. And that is BS. Most of us, if we're honest, see, you just laugh because that was a laughter of acknowledgement, right?
No,
You kind of
yeah, you're so direct. I love it. It's
most
like, I
of
love
us,
people who can call me on my bullshit.
we know, like let's think back. Let's play a game together, everyone.
Okay.
Like, how many of us you have been in the past in a relationship and you're like, well, I don't know. Should I stay? Should I go? Is he the one? Is she the one? No, 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 no. And you talk to your friends about it, talk to your friends about it. Then finally you had the courage to break up. And then you had coffee with your friend and you said, I knew that was never going to work. I just
Mhm.
knew. Like we knew. When do we know? The moment I met him. The third date. A few months in. Like, we knew. So most of us, the thing is, it's not that we don't know. We just don't have the courage to follow that knowing.
Yeah.
The courage to say, this is the knowing I have. And so I think part of surrender, a step, but part of a first step in transforming your life as a whole You have to be willing to start by telling the truth to yourself.
Mm,
There is no surrender, there is no transformation without truth.
yeah.
There is no transformation without truth. And so you have to be willing to start telling yourself the truth, because so many of us, out of fear, out of self-protection, out of safety, out of comfort, we have been conditioned from a very young age of childhood to lie to ourselves about who we are and what we feel. We
Yeah.
pretend to be who we think mom and dad needs us to be so that we can get love and validation. It's survival. It's
Mm,
not bad. It's just a limited strategy to get love and validation. So we put on a role, a mask, a persona to kind of, oh, if I'm this way, then daddy loves me. If I'm that way, then mommy loves me. If I'm this way, the teacher loves me. And now we start to betray parts of ourselves to just be nice, but we don't feel good inside, but we'll be nice. Or we'll say yes when we don't feel like saying yes. So we start learning all sorts of ways to lie to ourselves, betray ourselves, sell parts of ourselves off so that we can get love validation. We also have learned a strategy to suppress what we really feel and develop all sorts of mechanisms and survival mechanisms and walls to not feel what is going on in our environment, because maybe mom and dad were screaming or no one was around and that felt helpless and that was painful and there was turmoil in the house. And because that felt challenging, we learned to shut down, disconnect, and not feel. So
mm,
we developed all sorts of mechanisms and walls to not feel, which is again, not be true and authentic to what was there. It's like, no, I'm fine. No, I don't care. No, I didn't care that dad wasn't around. No, I don't need anybody. When deep down, yeah, I needed my dad.
yeah.
But it's too painful to feel I need my dad because he's not there. So it's just, I don't need anyone. And now that becomes the lie that we tell ourselves. So we've been conditioned from a very young age to lie to ourselves, to avoid pain, to get love, validation, and approval. And so we've developed a persona, and I that's become an identity that we think, oh, this is who I am. I'm just the independent one. I'm just the shy one. I'm just the kind of person. And that identity is what we hold on to so tightly for a sense of safety and security. And it's like, this is me. So when we say now, surrender and let go, we've learned to become a version of ourselves as a strategy of control. Because if I can control everything, my feelings, my emotions, how you perceive me, and if I can control my reality, then I won't get hurt. So surrender feels a bit scary because it does require a certain letting go of all the ways we've learned to hold ourselves together and control everything. And that's why it can feel like a bit of a death. Surrender can feel like a death. So we have to be willing to start, just to start, even if you're not ready to surrender, just to start the journey and the process by looking at, okay, what lies am I telling myself? We stay in relationships that we know are not right out of fear. We say yes when we mean no. We work jobs that we hate. If we can just start with, you know what? I'm not in love with this person anymore. You don't even you don't even have to leave. Take the pressure off of yourself. You don't even have to leave the relationship. But just start with the truth. I haven't been in love for 10 years. This is not working. And just feel that. I hate my job. You don't even have to leave your job, but just to acknowledge, like, this doesn't work. I hate my job. Just feel that. Even just starting with the truth of, you know what? I have an issue with alcohol. No judgment, no shame, no pretending. Like, no, I could quit anytime. I don't have a problem. Even though I drink every day, I can quit at any, no, no, no. I have an issue with alcohol. Just tell the truth. You can't change or shift or let go of what you can't acknowledge. So first step is the truth, which then allows you to come into acceptance. And acceptance might be, this is who my husband is. Th- They've been this way for 15 years. They're not changing. Feel that. Like, tell the truth. Like, this is what is. Can I deal with what is? If they don't change, am I okay with that? Many times we don't want to tell the truth because we're afraid that if we tell the truth and accept the truth, oh, what does that mean? So it's easier to not tell the truth and try to change someone and force things to be something that it's not. Because if I keep trying to, I'm using the relationship example, if I keep trying to change the person, then I don't actually have to admit that it's not working and I don't have to end it because I'm always trying to change the person. But if we come to this is what they are, oh, and that doesn't work for me, and they may not change. Oh, now things get real. And if we
Yeah,
can
no, that,
come into relationship with the truth and accept this is what is, that's the first step. Now, acceptance and surrender are not the same thing. This is where sometimes people get a bit confused. They
yeah,
think, oh, acceptance. No, no, no. You can be an acceptance, like, okay, this is who my husband is, but I freaking hate who he is. And I'm not going to leave, but I'm not going to, I'm just going to like withhold my love. And a lot of people are in relationships where they've kind of accepted who their partner is, but they're mad about it.
yeah.
And that also severely kills the relationship. Acceptance is okay, this is who they are, feel that. Or it's raining outside. Okay, it's raining outside. Yeah, that's acceptance. But true surrender is a open-hearted participation
Mm.
with the process of life that is happening. It's raining outside. Okay, I don't want it to rain, but it's raining outside. And how can I use this experience in the highest way possible? Maybe we'll stay inside, invite the family, and have a family, movie night, and we'll have a beautiful game night with the family and make the most of this experience. Surrender is where you're willing to use whatever the experience is for your highest growth evolution. The willingness to participate with the experience fully, because you can be in acceptance that it's raining outside and I'm mad it's raining outside, and I'm going to sit at home pissed off and mad that it's raining outside, and I'm going to sort of like destroy my entire Saturday, upset that it's raining outside because it shouldn't be raining outside. I'll accept it's raining. I won't go outside, but I'm mad. Right?
Yeah,
That is acceptance, but it's not surrender.
right.
So the difference is between acceptance and surrender is the phase in the middle that most people miss.
Yeah.
And it is called grieving. Grieving.
Mhm.
Most of the time, we don't fully allow ourselves to grieve because the grieving is what starts initiating the letting go.
Mm.
When you really accept who someone is and you start grieving, that begins the process of letting go of the old version of the relationship or even letting go of the relationship. And I think many times we stop ourselves from grieving because we're in acceptance, but we're holding on.
Yeah.
It's
Totally.
grieving that allows us to let go of who we thought we were.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not gonna be Tom Cruise anymore. I'm not gonna be, Bruno Mars and win an Oscar and oh, that's not the path I'm on anymore. I want it to be that, but I have to sort of grieve the end of an idea, the end of a version of myself, the end of a dream, the end of the phase of my life. It's like, oh, I'm not 20 anymore. Oh, I'm moving into my 40s or my 50s or my 60s. It's like the end of a phase. And so the willingness to grieve allows you to let go of what was so that you can open your arms and embrace what is and what is to be. And many of us, we have not allowed ourselves to grieve fully.
Mm.
So I would ask anyone to sit with, what have you not allowed yourself to fully grieve?
Mm.
Because many of us, we are carrying around in our hearts subtle layers and levels of unprocessed grief that
Mm.
is incomplete in our heart.
Yeah. I feel like that grief a lot when you talked about, having wants that come out of wounds.
Yes.
Like, I think that when you have a want that comes out of a wound and put your ambition towards that when it's not what life wants to express for you, then that's when you start hitting walls. So whether it's
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
relationship, for me, it's like career stuff. I used to be tech sales. And I had to sort of like grieve this idea of Silicon Valley tech sales identification, you know what I mean? And then
Right.
move
Right.
into
Right.
something else, coach, teacher, podcast,
Hmm.
things like that. There was a grieving process to letting
Yes.
go of that and stepping into this new
A new
thing that
identity.
was,
Yeah.
yeah, reshaping my identity.
And if
But
you don't fully allow yourself to grieve what was and grieve that old version of you, there'll be a part of you that won't fully be able to surrender to the new.
yeah,
It's like if an old relationship ends and you just move on and don't fully grieve that, there's a part of your heart that will still be stuck in the past.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've watched friends go through breakups, and it seems like it's the resistance of the grief that makes it
Yes.
last longer, like what you
Yes.
resist
Yes.
persists,
Yes.
right? And this idea of surrender, it sounds like, you mentioned being open-hearted, but it sounds like there's a lot of trust involved in that, that things will
Hmm.
actually work out for your highest and greatest good. But that can be a difficult, if you grew up with people disappointing you your whole
Yeah.
childhood, maybe you've experienced lots of failures. I think that's the
Hmm.
hard part about surrendering is the trusting, especially if you've sort of put your ladder against the wrong wall. Like if you
Yeah.
the want out of the wound, you can be ambitious towards that and then fail and fail and fail. And then you're
Yeah.
just like, I don't know what I want. I don't know how to trust. I don't know how to grieve. The grieving is hard, but
But I think
something
it's good
about
to ask
trusting.
yourself if your ladder's on the wrong wall or like you're in the wrong relationship,
Right.
why would you want something that is wrong for you?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like,
It makes sense up here.
right. Why would do I want something that is wrong for me? Right.
Right.
And I think many of us we're holding on to peanuts.
Mhm.
It's like, oh, I want this peanut. This guy like this peanut, but we're so tightly holding on to this peanut that we're not even available to the sort of peanut farm, that the universe is trying to give us, but we're not even. No, it's gotta be this one person that's a toxic relationship, and I'm gonna make this person love me. They're telling you, look, I'm not your soulmate, girlfriend. I'm not your soulmate. It's like you're gonna be my soulmate, but I'm not your soulmate. I'm gonna make you my soulmate, and you're gonna. It's like what? Why would you want that?
Why would you want
Why
that?
would you want that? And so that's what creates our suffering.
Yeah.
That's what creates our pain.
Yeah.
That's what creates our stress. That's what creates the anxiety when we're trying to make something that isn't into something is
Yeah.
force.
Right.
And I think when you can surrender and you can let go, that's when you can be truly available and open
Yeah.
to what life is seeking to unfold. And yeah, it can feel challenging when things don't go according to your plan,
Well, that's it. The
right?
my plan,
Yeah,
right?
that
So
that, that
when you
your
talked
plan.
about limited mindset, limited ego, how do we sort of shift from the ego wants from the wounds to I understand, it's the acceptance and grief and surrender.
I
What
think
is
we
that?
have to, yeah. Like I use a relationship example because it's a bit more uh
Everybody can relate to
everybody
that.
can relate, right?
Yeah.
Uh has anyone here, you were in a relationship in the past and you felt like I found the one and you were so in love, right? We've all been there, like so in love. It's like this is it. Oh my God, kids, the future, marriage, like this is it. And then it ended. Has anyone had that? We've all been there. My hand is up. And you didn't think you would find love like this again.
Yeah.
And you thought you were cursed. But now, today, 2025, you look back and you're like, thank God that didn't work out. What was I think? Like, thank God. That didn't work out. And
Yeah.
so I think many times things not working out is actually grace.
Yeah.
We're just not able to see it in that moment because we're so wrapped tightly to the limited perspective of what we think should be. And so it's a willingness. Surrender is a willingness to say, okay, all
Mm.
right, okay, let me trust that if it's not this, then it has to be something better.
Yeah.
So I really have come to see and believe and experience that the universe is always working for my highest good, even if I can't see it right now.
Yeah.
And so I think when things don't go according to plan, step back, just step back,
Yeah.
accept, grieve, surrender, and be open. And I think when you can live in that openness and that availability, then
Mm.
you make space for the new to come into your life. Many times we want something better, but because we're holding on so tightly to what isn't and what doesn't work, there's no room. It's like your garage is full with
Yeah.
the wrong car. There's no room for the blessing. There's no room for what you say you want because your life is full, your heart is full, your closets are full. So to truly manifest what you say you want, you have to create the space. And that requires letting go.
Yeah.
So I would say, don't wait until life forces you. Start looking at what in my life is not aligned. What in my life do I know doesn't work? What in my life have I been tolerating? What in my life have I been settling for? What in my life is no longer a vibrational match? And start step by step releasing those things and those situations and those people so that you can start making space in your life. Make space.
You actually, I heard you on another podcast. You talked about the purpose of life, and you said surrender to the lesson inherent in the situation. Stop resisting, learn the
Mhm.
lesson of why you attracted the situation.
Yeah.
And that's what unlocks the next level. I thought that was so brilliant.
Yeah. Yeah, look, there's a few reasons that things don't manifest. Number one, the goal that you're setting is not truly in alignment with your
Right.
soul. Like you're
Yeah.
you're basically trying to manifest something that is not your highest. You're trying to manifest what you think you should. You're trying to manifest from your ego. It's not in alignment, so you're kind of forcing something to be something that is not. And life is just giving you feedback like, hey, you're not in the flow, you're not in the highest alignment. and,
Yeah.
and, and rather than force, step back and reevaluate. Second reason why things don't
Mm.
manifest is it may not be time yet.
Right.
It's like you can be pregnant 12 weeks in, like, I want to meet my baby now. It's a 40-week journey, you know? It's got to cook for 40 weeks. It's like if I try to make a cake, put my cake in the oven, 2 minutes later, I want my birthday cake now.
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way. It's got to bake for a bit. It's got to marinate.
Patient.
We have to cultivate the patience. Everything has a season, everything has
Yeah.
a timing, everything has a rhythm. There is spring, there is summer, there is autumn, there is winter, right? And so we have to learn how to start getting into flow with the rhythms of life and nature.
Yeah.
Many times we're trying to go to the beach when it's snowing, and then we go you know, we go to the beach when it's actually snowing, and then we take our ski gear to the beach in the summer. It's like
Yeah.
it's the wrong season, right?
Yeah.
So
Makes no sense.
when we
Yeah.
can understand the rhythm of life and the
Yeah.
cycles of life and
Mhm.
bring ourselves in sync with the timing and the rhythm of things, everything has a timing. There is a
Yeah.
time sometimes to rest.
Mhm.
But because we just want what we want and we want it now, we don't realize that that time of non-doing and that time of rest is actually also giving you an opportunity to rejuvenate, is giving you an
Mhm.
opportunity to reevaluate, is giving you an opportunity to let that old identity die. Because
Right.
if you just jump into the new thing still stuck in the old identity, nothing will really change. So sometimes the space of the rest and the void and the timing can allow you to digest and let go. And so I
Mhm.
think sometimes we have to learn to trust the timing of things. It's like,
Yeah.
it's just not the season yet. It's
Yeah.
not summer yet. It's not autumn yet. It's not winter yet. And so trusting divine timing and not trying to force the timing of things, right?
Yeah.
And so it's not just being patient, it's just about being in sync. So many times when it's time to rest, we're running around like a headless chicken trying to be busy, so that now when it's time to act, we're exhausted. We're like, oh, now God says, go. We're like, yeah, but I need a
I'm
vacation.
exhausted.
I'm exhausted because when we should have just been resting, we were
Yeah.
running around trying to do things, right? So
Yeah.
we have to learn to trust the timing of life.
The timing of
Second
life.
thing. The third reason why things don't manifest is yes, you have not learned the lessons that you need to learn where you are with who you're with.
Mhm.
Ultimately, you are a soul.
Mhm.
And as souls, we incarnate into this human experience in order to learn, in order to grow, in order to evolve. Life is simply a curriculum and a school for your soul's
Mhm.
evolution.
Mhm.
Everything is serving your soul's evolution. Everything, ultimately, the goal of life is growth. And the degree to which you learn the lessons determines your evolution. And so the thing that keeps us stuck sometimes is all lessons are repeated until learned. And the thing that keeps us stuck is likely you have not learned the lessons that you need to learn where you are with who you're with. So rather than forcing, step back and learn the lesson. Oh, what what lesson is my soul seeking to learn?
Mhm.
Why has my soul attracted this person or this situation? What is my soul resisting learning in this situation? What is it that I don't want to learn in this situation? Because when you learn the lesson, where you are with who you're with, that changes your energy, that changes your frequency, that changes your vibration. You elevate to the next level of consciousness, and that is the key that unlocks the next level of your life.
Oh, I
And
love
so,
that.
yes, surrendering, there's a difference. It, some might say, well, what if I'm in an abusive situation? I'm not saying surrendering to the situation,
Right.
surrendering to the lesson. Why did I
Mhm.
attract this? What is this person mirroring to me? Well, because if you just leave the situation and you don't learn the lesson, likely you're going to attract the same dynamic or the same pattern in another experience, another situation, another relationship. So
Right.
surrendering in that experience is surrendering to the lesson and learning the lesson. It might mean leaving the situation, but the surrendering is to the lesson. When you
To the
learn the
lesson.
lesson, you shift yourself. When you shift yourself, life will reflect something different back to you.
Mhm. That is magic. That is powerful.
Yeah.
You also said the purpose of a goal is who you have to become in the process of
Yeah.
attaining it. And that sounds like it speaks to
Yeah.
the evolving part.
Yes. Yes. Speaks to the evolving. And that's why I said earlier that I think, yeah, you should be a little afraid when you have a goal because the goal is going to stretch you to become more. It's going
Yeah.
to take you on a journey. Your goal, your dream, your desire will take you on a journey of having to become more.
Yeah.
And it will cause you to face and confront parts of yourselves and your fears and your unhealed aspects so that you can heal that in the pursuit of the goal.
That is the perfect lesson for people that are in recovery,
Uh,
right? That is the essence of recovery is who you have to become,
yes,
the what you have to it like makes you confront all the
yes,
places that need
yes.
to be healed in order to be in that
Hmm.
space of ongoing recovery.
Hmm.
That's really beautiful. I want to be respectful of your time. I know you're a super busy guy. I'm so honored that we've been able to have this conversation.
Thank you.
Where can people reach you? How do people work with you,
Sure.
learn more about you?
Sure. Firstly, at the beginning of this year, I created a new course. It's called the
Oh,
8 Levels of Gratitude. And
ooh,
I
love
think
it.
gratitude is a superpower that most people kind of practice, But if you can really harness the power of gratitude, it is life-changing. So I
Mm.
created a system called the 8 levels of gratitude. And I was guided to gift it to the world for free. And there
What?
are, I would say, over 10,000 people that have been through the course since the beginning of the year. And it's a free gift from me to your audience. You can go to www 8levelsofgratitude, 8levelsofgratitude.com, enter your name, enter your email, and sign up. You're going to receive 8 modules, 8 videos, and it's kind of simple but life-changing. So that's number one.
I love that.
Secondly, I would invite everyone to check out the book, The Magic of Surrender. You can get it on Amazon. It's
Amazon.
super simple read. It's just full of all of the principles, but I go into it much deeper. The second thing is, over the last 15 years, I have done intensive retreats around the world. I used to do one in Bali. I'm in the process of uh, reinventing and creating some new events and seminars and retreats right now that will be launching probably in the next few months. And so if you want to find out more, depending when you listen to this interview, if you want to find out more about my intensive transformational retreats and events, for now, you can go to www.kuteblackson.com, just my name, Kute Blackson, Blackson, kuteblackson.com, and find out more.
Awesome. I'm so excited. Listen, I love a good retreat. And
Yes,
there's something about the environment, the intensiveness, the energy of a live retreat that
yes,
is really, it's like it kicks off the momentum. Sometimes we
yes,
just need a little momentum to
yes,
kick off the transformation. What a beautiful way to
yes.
really facilitate that for people. Well, Kuda, it was such a pleasure to
Thank you,
speak.
thank
Thank you
you,
so much for
thank you
your
so much.
generosity and your wisdom. And I can't wait to, I'll leave all the links to all your things in the show
Thank you.
notes. So thank you so
It's a
much.
pleasure.